question. And I think the statistic shows that that kids that are, I think 80% of our children that are about age 8 or 9 have seen some type of pornography somewhere. And so they already know kind of what you're going to be talking about. They've seen it in schools. A lot of the younger kids will do a good touch, bad touch program, and what's appropriate dress to wear for like the
I like that. Appropriate dress, good touch, bad touch. It's okay to talk to the children like it's okay if someone touches you this way on your shoulder or not, but not here. I had someone once use with children. A good friend of mine said that nobody should ever touch you where your swimsuit is. Is that, how do you talk? Yeah. Does that work?
Your private parts. Obviously, we talk about private parts and things that you don't come out and expose, whether it's your breasts or your lower region. We keep those covered up. That's just
right.
Standard morality, I think, in
right.
in normal settings. We talk to them about appropriate dress. The older kids, we get into really more details as far as, we know you've seen pornography, or how many of you have seen pornography, and we'll do a presentation at a school, and we'll just flat out ask, how many of you have seen pornography? About 95% of the hands raised. And the ones that don't raise their hands, they've probably seen it, they just didn't raise their hand.
So you're doing presentations at schools. How often?
Not as much as we'd like to. There's not a lot of money in pornography as far as fighting pornography. Pornography, yes, but fighting pornography, no. And so we do have a lot of presentations. We do. This ribbon is called White Ribbon Week, WRAP, which is White Ribbon Against Pornography, that we promote to all the schools to try to do 1 week out of the year where you talk about good touch, bad touch, or your mobile devices, about dangers of people coming after you or trafficking you or kidnapping you. There's a lot of issues out there in the world today.
There is, and it's just becoming more and more prevalent. The world's going to hell, people. Okay, so it's just gonna get worse. So you guys are educating us too on how to educate our children.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about, you had mentioned when we spoke before about a clean bill or clean city, something about Governor Herbert signed.
He did. He signed a declaration.
What was the declaration about?
We've actually been working with cities to sign what's called a child appropriate or a child safe community standard. So the mayor, the city council, and all of the people in the city say, yeah, we need to protect our kids. We know that. How do we do it? That's the next step. So they've signed a declaration. Governor Herbert signed a declaration for the whole state to do this, and then we have 61 cities that have signed it.
Wow.
So it's basically about 71% of the state of Utah live in these cities. Salt Lake, Ogden, Provo, Orem, the major cities have signed it. Now we're trying to go to the next step and say, now that you know that pornography is an issue, let's take the next step and let's get every home, business, hotel, school involved to protect our kids. We're actually working with a program in Sandy right now. In Sandy, and that's where I live. It's funny how that happened, but and Sandy will be the first clean city is what we're trying to make it. So every home, every business, every school, everybody knows the dangers of pornography. Everybody has the option to have a filter on their phone or on their iPad.
How? You're going to provide everyone with a filter, or every home? How is that going to work? Make the whole city clean? I think it's fabulous. I want the whole world clean, but how does that work?
Well, it's their choice, obviously, but we want to give them the options. If they decide not to put in protective software or something, then they'll have to sign a waiver to say, I understand the dangers of pornography, which is the first step, and I've chosen not to protect my home for whatever reason. It's their choice. We don't want them to do anything. And I think financially it's the biggest issue, because we would love to just give all these services to everybody. And that's kind of where the Clean Services Foundation came in, where we said, yeah, we've been educating people for 8 years now, since 2003. We've been educating schools, everybody, about pornography, the issues. But now what do we do? Because they know about it, how do we protect them with technology? And technology is so great when used in a good way, but it's also very not so great if you use it badly.
Okay, and I want to talk about those protective softwares and things, filters specifically, because that's what the Clean Team is about, right?
That's what the Clean Team is
about.
So
you offer, because we've talked on this show, on Facebook, all the time in the past about pornography. Okay, you all have your feelings about it. Some of you are very opinionated, but we can talk all day long and it's not going to do any good. We have to do something about it. You've got to, you can think that you're watching your children and asking them what they're watching on TV or what are they doing on the computer. But if you haven't taken any measures or steps to actually protect them with software or filters,
or something,
really, what good are you doing? None. Really none. So please tell us about the products.
Okay.
And are any of them free? How much do they cost? Let's start with computers. What's the best product to protect your home PC?
That's a good question. Now let me back up real quick. About 80% of our children have been exposed to pornography while trying to do homework.
While trying to do homework?
While doing searches. I mean, the pornographers are very smart, obviously.
Yeah.
They've got an unlimited amount of money. They're very intelligent. They don't have any rules. And so they can really go after our kids very, very effectively.
Oh, it makes you sick.
So
right?
they've actually come out about a decade ago. They came out and said that they are coming into our home. That's their goal, is to come into our home and to get women involved in pornography more. Because if they get the family involved and get somebody addicted young, then they're going to have a lifelong client. That always
I don't usually have a feeling inside like I want to murder someone. But that that makes me very upset. The porn industry has actually said their goal is to get into the home and affect women and children. I mean, because it's enough that you have the men, the husbands, right? Isn't it? No. So now they're going after, Well,
it's business.
It's just the dollar.
They step back and say it has nothing to do with the person. It's business. It's money. It's supply and demand. Obviously, if they didn't want it, they wouldn't buy it, right? And so a lot of people, when you become addicted, that's all you want, is to see that next high or that next rush.
Right. They know how it works and capitalizing on it. So filter for home computers.
There's a lot of solutions out there. And what we've done is the Clean Services Foundation and the Clean Team is we've tried to pick various ones because we don't want to say, buy this, buy that, because we don't know what's going to fit best for them. So you've got Net Nanny, which is Content Watch out there. You've got some other free filters out there like K9, which is good.
K9 is free?
K9 is free. Net Nanny isn't free, but it's a good service as well. It's probably the most prominent filter out there because they are very good at what they do.
Right. How about mobile devices?
Mobile devices.
iPhones. How many women, I'm sorry, if you have children and you have an iPhone, you do this. You let them play on your iPhone to keep them busy for wherever, on a car ride, waiting in the dentist lounge. Anyway, so what do you do on an iPhone?
Good question. Some of these are new, obviously, with tablets. I mean, like I said, the pornographers are very smart. They're always one step ahead of us. We're always trying to catch up with what they're sending out there because that's all they do. I mean, they've got group meetings every week. They've got conferences every 6 months. That's what their goal is to try to get this service, if you want to call it, amenity, whatever you want to call it, to the public. That's their goal, is money. And so they're very, like I said, very well funded. That's all they think about is trying to help. How do we get more business?
Right.
Which a lot of businesses do, obviously maybe not that way, but
right.
For the tablets and iPhones, there are certain softwares out there that we can put applications on the phone where it protects. Nothing's 100%. And so I think that open discussion with your child, if you see something that makes you feel uncomfortable, come talk to me. Because if you can explain to them that, this is why, sex is out there, you wouldn't be here if we didn't have sex, honey.
Right.
If you want to say it. But letting them know that, it's a great thing, but at a certain age is not the right time. When you're a child, obviously, it's not the right time.
Right.
But these feelings are good, but just not yet. Feelings are good with love and, compassion down the road.
Usually marriage.
Marriage, but not always. I mean, I can't say that. I mean, the marriage rate is going down, as we all know, and so a lot of people are choosing not to get married. But I think if you have that open discussion with them, so when they see something, they come to you and say, I felt funny about this, and you can tell them this is why you feel that way. This is what happens to you, and that feeling, if you're not careful, you will always want that feeling. So you'll be looking for something, like in a grocery store. That's why we cover the magazines. A lot of kids will see that because it's right at eye level, and obviously
they're lower, like for the children, right where the children are looking. The magazines.
They purchase their spots. The magazine people know what they're doing because if they can have a certain picture on the magazine, then they may get more sales. If they say, wow, that's a cool picture, let's buy that, whether it's a teenager. I mean, like the swimsuit edition, I mean, there's thousands of people that go through the stores and look at that when it comes out. Teenagers, same thing. I mean, they're getting those feelings. They like those feelings, which is God-given, but probably not in the right setting.
So if you're going to talk about pornography and these feelings, you also want to include a discussion with your children about the addictiveness of the feelings?
Sure. Like anything, I mean, I think it's also, pornography, drugs.
Could you explain porn? Could you relate it to drugs? This is
Yes.
I mean, we've
Yes.
heard that pornography can be as addictive as heroin, they've said.
Yep, as meth, and it's as addictive as anything you're going to find, because with a lot of times you can get out of the situation. You can say, I'm not going to go to those bad places. I'm not going to see those friends anymore that have
When
the
it
drugs.
comes to drugs
When
and
it comes to drugs.
drinking. Yeah.
But with pornography, it's always in your mind, and something you maybe say, I'm clean. I haven't thought about porn for a day, a week, a month, whatever. Then all of a sudden, a smell or a sight or something sparks that, and it comes back again. So it's always in your mind.
Right.
Almost, you just have to put.
And on your
good
phone.
things. And your phone.
And it's accessible, yeah,
It's
in a
everywhere.
split second.
It's everywhere. Yeah.
It's not like you can just, reach in your pocket for more drugs. Wow.
And that's the tough part. And the other part is they know that, so they're targeting you. They're trying to say, Ariel, Sleeping Beauty, all of those are sex names, pornography names. So when you do look up those names, thinking it's innocent, your kids are going to pull something up.
That is sick.
You know what?
That is seriously sick.
They're brilliant in what they do. Yeah, it's not the right thing, but they're brilliant in how they do their marketing.
Satan lives.
It's very.
That's horrible, right?
It's facts.
That's
though.
horrible.
So parents need to know that.
Right.
Be careful, and that's why 80% when they're doing homework, they pull up pornography. Because a lot of times you'll see
they're searching for something innocent.
searching for something else, and a lot of times they'll use those keywords to have either a ticker on the side or a movie on the side that brings you into pornography. So.
Okay, well, I'm kind of a computer idiot, so explain to me. I thought that, so anything can pop up. I thought you had to have cookies already, like you had to have visited porn for it to pop up on your screen. Or do you? Can it come up anytime?
And I don't understand all that together, sorry, but I know that, like I said, the pornographers are a lot smarter than most of us on the computer, and they know that the keywords that you search, melons, for example, you're trying to look up watermelons, cantaloupe, whatever. I'm just saying, simple as melons.
You could be just wanting to buy fruit and be exposed to pornography,
or at least a link, and then once they have you, then they know that that's a live site or that's a live connection, so they'll keep sending you things, and so it's tough. It's tough.
How do you feel about just banning children? As parents, banning children from computers or the internet completely. Like, I have a password on my computer. Mm-hmm. If they even want to get on the internet, I have to type in my password, and then I'll be in the same room with them while they work on it. Or do you think that's just taking away too much freedom?
I think with the way the world is, that it's almost impossible to do that, just because the kids, they're talking about getting rid of textbooks because of the printing costs and the travel costs and updates for their school. They'll just have an iPad or a tablet, because then updates are quick, they're easy, you already have it. You got the computer, you can get the internet, because most people go to the internet instead of the library to do research.
Everyone does. Nobody goes to the library.
I think it's time that our kids and our families need to understand that we got to just be careful. But I think that's a good way to do it. Here's an open forum, do your homework here, and that's it. When you're a certain age.
Right. So here we've got this billion-dollar industry, pornography, that's just going to get bigger and bigger. Mm-hmm. Wow, the fight against it. It seems bleak, but you got to do something, otherwise it's just going to take over. Sure. Again, tell me a website for the Clean Team and your services, because that website does have information on filters. And
if we're trying to get everybody involved, whether it's, I guess we're kind of following the pornographers, right? We're trying to get everybody involved in what we're trying to do. So we've got different filters, different software companies, different therapists. Everywhere from A to Z of pornography, we can at least provide some education or some
on this website. What is the website? Or
call us or email me, whatever. I'll help. It's a cleanservicesfoundation.org.
Cleanservicesfoundation.org. Okay. And tell really quick, we just have a couple minutes left. Tell me about recovery. Do you guys focus on that at all? You said it's the most addictive drug out there, pornography. Is the recovery, obviously for adults, but you're not going to get a lot of, let's forget that. Let's focus on the kids. What if children have gotten into it too much, or teenagers? Is there any sort of recovery or education for them to kind of snap or break the habit before it's too late?
It's too late. Have you ever seen the movie called The Beautiful Mind?
Yes.
Okay, where
Russell Crowe,
his, I guess, fake people or his imaginary friends, they were always there at the end. Remember, they were always there on the side, just kind of waiting for him to engage again. I think it's kind of like that. It's always going to be there. You can't just say, I've kicked the habit. you always have to be on the lookout and be cautious, whatever you're doing, because it could pop up anywhere that you're looking. I mean, it's
so
tough that way.
even if you've gone through a program and recovered, you're still going to have, just like any addict, alcohol or drugs, you'll always have that addiction, even if you never partake.
Yeah.
It's still a part of you.
It's still, and it could.
That's
could
scary.
And it could open up at age 60. You never know. It's not like you've grown out of it and I'm past the point of addiction. Or
are you talking about any addiction or pornography specifically? So pornography can affect any age.
Yeah.
An 80-year-old man or woman could get into that.
Yeah, yeah. And as far as, like you said, as far as the kids, the program, it's a lot with your parents. I mean, ecclesiastical leaders. I mean, a support group, someone to talk to, because a lot of times kids aren't going to say, yeah, I'm addicted to pornography, to their parents, to their friends. It's something that's hidden. It's behind closed doors. If you get them open up talking about it, and I guess they feel that it's not the right thing to do, then I think you'll have a lot more success with your kids to say, you know what, this isn't right, and this is why it's not right. I mean, just like with drugs or other things, this is what it could do to you. But there's a lot of programs out there and therapists that just focus on children to try to help children.
I am so glad you brought that up, that basically it starts in the home. Mm-hmm. We, of course, parents need to do our jobs. I don't care if you're a single parent, a young or older parent, or how old your child is. It has to start with you. And you can't just throw it on your church leaders or
your teachers at school.
Or teachers at school. Wow, it really starts with us. And the best, I feel like now after going to your website and speaking with you, that is probably the best protection you can find is to go to the, is it Clean Team?
CleanServicesFoundation.org and then StrengthenTheFamily.net. And the Clean Team you had asked about, I don't know if you have any more time.
Yes, go ahead. Tell me about the Clean Team.
The Clean Team is really just a group of like-minded people, individuals, companies, like Knit Nanny, like Governor Herbert, like these 61 cities, like Miss America 2010. We're trying to get everybody involved. We're trying to say, you know what, if you think pornography is something we need to fight against, let's get together and do it then.
Be a part of the Clean Team.
Let's just do something instead of saying, yeah, pornography is a bad thing, but that's it. You don't do anything about it. Let's do something about it if we're gonna really take on pornography.
I want to be a part of the Clean Team. That sounds amazing.
I will put you on there. Sure.
Seriously, sure. I would love for every city to be like you're doing with Sandy.
Clean city, and that's
Sandy's going to be a clean city.
I think we can replicate that all over the U.S., all over the world, because it's not just a U.S. thing. Yeah, more pornography comes out of the U.S. than any other country, by far. But every country's affected.
Crazy.
Every country's affected. So because it comes out of the U.S., we should be the ones that fight it, right?
Right, exactly. Wow, John, thank you so much for being on our show.
You're welcome.
I appreciate the information. I hope you guys are a little more concerned, fired up about fighting pornography in your own homes. That's where it starts. Protecting our children above all else. Thanks for joining us, and we hope to have you back again because I feel very strongly about this. Thank
Anytime.
you.
Thank you very much.
All right, join us
Thank
next
you.
time, Live Wire, next week, same time. We'll see you then. Bye.